All right, we're back at trying to figure this turd out. So I guess I'm coming back for some more, but yeah. So I got this right from the service manual. We have a red, yellow, green, red, down to the SMJ, red and blue. And on my switch, I have power for both of them. So that tells me that this red, blue, which powers everything, is getting backfed somewhere, somehow, some way. I don't know. So I unplugged the SMJ. I'll show you. So I unplugged it here, connected to that back there, and I also unbolted the fuse block, and I pulled the fuses. I pulled these two fuses, and it did absolutely nothing. So as soon as I unplugged this SMJ, like I showed, these marker lights went out, but my tail lights are still on. So that tells me it's on the right side where all my tail lights and everything are of everything. So that tells me that somewhere between here and here, I have power. But that doesn't make sense to me, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how I would have I mean, you're talking pretty crazy. So I'm wondering if I have a missing ground somewhere. So I took these connectors. I really don't know what they're for, but they look like they probably went to the old engine harness. And I grounded every single pin out to a known ground, and nothing changed. So that tells me that that doesn't mean anything. So then I opened this harness up for the fuse block, and I realized I have all these hooked into always hot. So this is direct from battery. This is my starter. This thick cable goes into here and is split into my alternator fuse, the alt/75 amp, and then it runs down to the alternator. And then I have these two wires, which are direct to power, and then they hook into the fuse box for these two fuses, which are headlamp. So I don't know if those are I'm kind of like lost, I guess. I don't really want to have to pull the dash back out. So I don't know if there's any common cuts or something. I mean, I have fueltech harness I had to make myself. So I have the old OEM harness is completely ripped out of the engine bay. I don't know if there's any connectors on that are supposed to be plugged in. Someone on like some of the forums say that I might have wired it wrong, and I don't know how. The only thing I can think of is if I'm missing a ground, because it's not, like the guy said, it's not getting power out of thin air. So I don't know. I mean, you'd have to have two wires touching each other, almost wrapped into each other, because of all the shaking I'm doing, and it's still not changing anything. So for them to be just tapping wouldn't really make sense to me. So I'm wondering if I'm missing a ground somewhere. I went through, the factory service manual and looked at all the wiring, and I'm pretty sure I have all the grounds, but maybe I'm missing one somewhere. But yeah, I mean, like since I have that unplugged, the marker lights are out right now, but my tail lights are still on, as you can see. So I don't know. I'm at a loss. All I know is that turn signals work normally. But when I had the SMJ plugged in, these two pins both had power, and this red-blue, I believe, has power all the time, and this red-green is switch power, or I think it's the opposite. I don't remember exactly. I don't have the paper with me, but one of these is supposed to be hot, and then one of them is only supposed to get hot when you turn the lights on and off. But they both had 12 volts going to them, so that tells me that somewhere, obviously from the backside here, from here back to wherever the battery, I don't even know that there's a break. or something. Something's wired. But I haven't messed with any of that, and the only thing that I've changed was put a fueltech in this thing. I haven't changed the harness, and it was working when it had the old ECU in it, so I don't know what to do.